Hello viewers and welcome to yet another live-action commentated match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today I'm pleased to present a mirror match featuring two alternate art versions of our original core set Space Marines faction Warlord Captain Cato Sicarius. On the left we have Alexander Cimadon, and to the right, holding our initiative token, we have Troels Berthelsen. Looks as though the opening deploy action of the game is going to be a copy of Void Pirate put out to planet number 5 by Troels for an early game card bonus, and also at planet number 5, but on the opposite end of the table, we've got the one command icon, Earthcast Technician, so both players are going to have a command struggle stalemate in regard to that planet, but upon entering play, that Earthcast Technician allowed Cimadon to check the top 6 cards of his deck for a drone trait or attachment card. Looks as though he found something quite valuable indeed. It's a copy of the signature attachment, the Talisarian Tempest Blade, which he has subsequently immediately put into play affixed to his own copy of Captain Cato Sicarius. So Cimadon's Cato's now not only going to be attacking for 3, but it's going to do so with the Armorbane keyword, and therefore, unless Troels has a handful of Indomitables, then he's not going to be able to use any kind of shielding effects to negate the relentless onslaught of damage tokens dealt out by that resource token accumulating copy of Captain Cato Sicarius under the control of Cimadon. So we've now got a copy of the Void Pirate put out to planet number 4 by Cimadon. We've also got a copy of the 10th Company Scout put out to planet number 3. That's a 1 command, 2 attack, 1 hit point units, and we see a couple copies of Tactical Squad Cardenas put into play by Troels. It's going to be a 2 cost, 1 attack, 3 hit point unit with area effect 1, but you know, a 3 hit point reservoir definitely isn't going to save you from a 3 attack value Armorbane copy of Captain Cato Sicarius on the opposite end of the table. Looks as though at planet number 5, both of our players have decided to promote their 1 command icon units, and at planet number 1, providing a little bit of early game pressure, we see a copy of the White Scars Bikers put into play by Alexander. They're a 3 cost unit with a command icon with 2 attack with 3 hit points, and they happen to get a +2 attack value bonus as soon as an enemy Warlord is present. So note that Troels is our player with the initiative token, and he's also got a copy of Cato's Stronghold, the signature support sitting in his HQ, so as soon as he destroys an enemy unit, as a reaction, he can exhaust that support to ready a Space Marine faction unit he controls at that planet. But Cimadon sends his Warlord to planet 4, Troels sends his Warlord to planet number 5, planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource for Cimadon to the left, planet number 2 is going to be 2 cards for Troels, planet number 3 is going to be 2 resources for Cimadon, planet number 4 is going to be 2 cards, 1 resource for Cimadon, and planet number 5 is going to be 1 resource and 2 cards for Troels. So planet number 1 looks as though we've got at least 1 resource token in Troels' possession. Are we going to see an eager recruit try to kill off that White Scars Biker? If its attack gets through, we could see a copy of Crushing Blow end up killing off the Biker. Otherwise, that would be the Battle 1 entirely uncontested by Cimadon, who's got resources of his own. He's probably got just as many drop pod assaults and eager recruits as does his opponent, and should he end up winning Karnath, he's going to be able to trigger the battle ability of any other planet in play. Planum is there on the board, so he could choose to relocate a unit anywhere he'd like. He could just shift his White Scars Biker to wherever seems to be an appealing planet working toward his victory condition, but it looks instead as though he's chosen to pick up that Earthcast Technician with its associated promotion to save it from the enemy Captain Cato Sicarius. That's going to be a copy of Karnath added to Cimadon's HQ, or sorry, his victory display. He's now got a material and technology type icon, so red and blue. Looks as though through red icons he'd be able to win as early as current planet number 4, and that's going to prevent Troels from killing off his Earthcast Technician. Therefore, he's going to not only deprive his opponent of a resource, but he's also going to have the opportunity to, potentially win command the following round at Elowith against that tactical squad. But we see the opponent's tactical squad Cardenas now destroyed. Again, nothing it can do to resist Armorbane, and now there's really nothing that Troels' copy of Cato is going to be able to do at planet number 5 in regard to, killing off enemy units. He's going to win that battle, but it looks as though he decided not to trigger Planum at all, so interesting choice, but regardless, we see an HQ phase come and go. Our new 5th planet is going to be, it looks like, Iridial, the healing planet. Our initiative token is now in Alexander's possession. Both of our players end up drawing 2 cards. They generate 4 resources for themselves. I'm sure in just a moment we're going to see Captain Cato Sicarius there sitting in Alexander's HQ be readied, and now both of our players have quite a few resource tokens. It looks like Troels has 5, it looks like Cimadon has around 9, and that is a tremendous amount. So if he can manage to shore up some of the economic disparity, like he's got way more resources, well, hell, I guess I spoke too soon. He's got a hand full of cards as well. So what exactly are we going to see from Cimadon? What are we going to see from Troels? Troels has got Cato's Stronghold, but he doesn't really have any formidable units to put into play with it. If Cimadon's Cato shows up at planet number 1, he'll be able to kill that copy of the Tactical Squad Cardenas, unless there's an Indomitable to stop him, but looks as though we see a copy of the Honored Librarian touchdown on planet number 2. If Cimadon wins planet 2 and 3, he's going to be able to win this game, and if he can keep littering, filling the board with those powerful units, he may well be able to do so. Honored Librarian is no joke once it has, other units to back it up. Looks as though we saw a copy of Vashial Trailblazer put into play by planet number 3, which is now destroyed, thanks to the Sicarius' Chosen played out by Cimadon to planet number 4, so it targeted the Trailblazer at planet number 3 for relocation and point of damage assignment. And considering Troels did not decide to shield against that unit, it's just going to be outright destroyed. So we've got a copy of Void Pirate sitting at Taurus. That's definitely going to be a priority target for Troels to potentially go to. Note that at present, Cimadon's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units in total relative to Troels' 3. And then in regard to where Cimadon wants to go, note that he's got that copy of White Scar's Biker in his HQ. Karnath is now gone, but Planum is now a thing. I suppose he could send Cato to Planum, kill off that Void Pirate, deny his opponent that command bonus, and that could actually work out pretty well. And then he'd be able to put his White Scar's Biker probably at Farron to shore up his victory condition, or instead to Taurus. So I guess let's see where our players are going to go. I could also see Cimadon showing up at Taurus just to drop off his White Scar's Biker, just to make sure that the opposing Captain Cato Sicarius doesn't have the opportunity to trigger Taurus' battle ability himself. But in any case, we did see we saw Troels put a copy of his own Sicarius' Chosen into play at planet number 2. It dealt 1 point of damage to the Void Pirate at Taurus and killed that off. So that's going to be depriving a little bit of economy there for Alexander. Okay, a little bit of a curious choice. I was kind of expecting that since that Void Pirate was cleared out by that copy of Sicarius' Chosen, we may not actually see Cato under Troels' control go to Taurus, because otherwise he'd have been able to do that killing himself, and he'd have been able to generate a resource token off of the kill of that Void Pirate. But I guess in doing so, I guess you gotta do whatever you want to do. But at planet number 1, that's going to be 2 cards for Cimadon. Planet number 2 is going to be 2 resources for Alexander. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for Troels. Planet number 4 is going to be a card and a resource for Alexander, and he's conveniently shutting down his opponent's +1 card bonus thanks to Void Pirate, and the copy of Armorbane Captain Cato Sicarius is going to be able to quite conveniently kill off that copy of the Void Pirate. But I would definitely suggest trying to make that kill with your copy of your signature army unit, just so you can leave Cato ready for as long as possible to potentially clear out, say, a drop pod assaulted Honored Librarian or something in a single swing. But planet number 1 looks like that copy of Earthcast Technician dealt out a point of damage to the Tactical Squad Cardenas. The Tactical Squad Cardenas destroyed that enemy army unit, and now we've got an Eager Recruit in play. The Eager Recruit takes a swing at that Tactical Squad Cardenas. Note that we did not see Cato's Stronghold used, so I can only imagine that Troels is maybe using that for some other effect. It looks as though we see a copy of the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter discarded as shields. That's going to block the damage from that Eager Recruit entirely, and now Troels puts an Eager Recruit of his own into play, and that's going to have the opportunity to take a swing and potentially kill off Cimadon's recruit. But Cimadon's definitely got, 5 resource tokens sitting on his tabletop, so he could do a drop pod assault, and if he does, then it's going to be regrettable that we didn't see that copy of Cato's Stronghold, ready, that copy of Tactical Squad Cardenas. But no matter what would or would not have happened, that planet is going to be added to the victory display of Troels. That's going to allow him to take a look at the top 3 cards of his deck, pick one of those cards to be added to his hand, and he'll put the remaining 2 on the bottom of his deck in the order of his choice. So Troels now has 1 blue tech icon. If he goes for technology icons, he won't actually end up winning the game until planet number 5, thanks to the dearth of those type icons on the board. We're going to see a battle at planet number 3, and we're also going to see a battle at planet number 4. So in regard to Taurus, looks like Cimadon's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units in total, and because of that eager recruit, because the tactical squad card Dennis was saved, that means that Taurus is not going to be able to be triggered, so perhaps our Space Marine on the right feels a little bit silly about saving that tactical squad, or not readying it after killing that Earthcast technician. So a little bit of a shame there. I feel like Taurus could have indeed been readied. But in any case, the Sicarius is chosen, ends up destroying that copy of the Void Pirate with its associated promotion. Platinum's battle ability is going to be activated. The White Scars Biker is going to be moved to Farron. Looks as though the Pain Train is ongoing, and that's going to be a White Scars Biker, Honored Librarian, and 10th Company Scout, all situated at planet number 1, and that is going to be a hell of a lot of daunting opposition for Troels to try to chew his way through. All he's got is 1 copy of his signature army unit, try to withstand such a relentless onslaught by Cimadon, and now Alexander's got his own Cato free of other units in his HQ to go wherever he pleases. He could show up at Taurus just to try to prevent his opponent from showing up there, or he could just litter that unit, that planet full of, units, and then discourage the opponent's Cato from showing up. Note that Troels has got that eager recruit. He's got a 1 damage tactical squad Cardenas sitting in his HQ. If those show up exhausted at Taurus, Cato's Stronghold could still ready the tactical squad Cardenas should an enemy unit end up being destroyed, and then we could see Area Effect 1 potentially destroying, some big crowd of units if Alexander chooses to deploy heavily to that planet. But we've got a copy of Blood Angels Veterans now situated at planet number 2, played out by Troels. We've got a Void Pirate at our new planet number 5, Yvarn, played by Cimadon. We've got a 10th Company Scout now at planet number 4, played by Cimadon. We've got a Vashia Trailblazer at planet number 2, and that's going to be a 2 command icon unit now controlled by Cimadon, and 2 command icons is going to be ever so slightly higher than 1, but that's all it's going to take in order to reel in 1 card and 1 resource from winning a command struggle at that planet. Interestingly, we see a copy of the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter, something you definitely don't see every day, affixed to that copy of the Honored Librarian, now present at planet number 1. So if that Honored Librarian manages to, I believe if it damages a unit through an attack, you're able to pick another enemy unit to deal damage to. It's either you have to outright kill it or damage it. I believe it's as simple as you just damage a unit, and then you pick another unit present at that planet to deal damage to equal to your printed attack bonus. So we can see Cimadon's copy of Captain Cato Sicarius touches down on planet number 3, and instead Troels sends his copy of Cato to Taurus, planet number 2. So planet number 1 is readily going to be 2 resource tokens, 1 by Cimadon. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource, 1 by Troels. The Vashia Trailblazer is going to be able to use its mobile keyword to evacuate the premises prior to Captain Cato Sicarius having an opportunity to kill him, but it looks as though Troels is still going to be able to trigger Taurus' battle ability unless, for some reason, the unit totals shift dramatically. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource, 1 by Cimadon, and planet number 4 is going to be a single card, 1 by Cimadon, whereas planet number 5, Yvarn, is going to be 1 resource, 1 by Cimadon, and if a battle happens to be won at Yvarn at any point, that's going to be both players having the opportunity to pick one of their army units from hand and put it directly into play in their HQ without paying any associated cost. But battle is about to erupt at planet number 1, and the initiative token is going to be in the possession of Troels. He's going to be able to attack with his 2 attack, 3 hit point unit prior to Alexander being able to do anything, the 10th Company Scout could definitely be easily destroyed by that unit, but the White Scars Biker is still going to be disallowing the Honored Librarian from being targeted by an attack. Interestingly, looks as though Sicarius has chosen he's going to take a swing at the enemy White Scars Biker. We see 2 shield icon Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter discarded as shields. That's going to drop that attack to 0, therefore we can't see a crushing blow resulting in a kill had Alexander decided not to shield at all, and the Honored Librarian deals a killing blow to that unit. But Farron is going to be activated. That's going to be a target non-Warlord unit routed. That's going to be the copy of the Blood Angels Veterans positioned at planet number 2. And let's see, at present, it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of units controlled by Cimadon, and that's going to be only 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 4 controlled by Troels. So he's going to have the opportunity to trigger Taurus's battle ability, and that's either going to be 3 cards or 3 resources, and looks as though Troels might actually be able to use resources more than cards. So Cimadon has got 2 material icons right now, 2 red icons if he's able to win the following round's combat at Taurus. That'll be him winning the game, or if he's able to simply stretch things out and win at Iridial, then he'll just as easily win the game as well, although it will be a little bit more drawn out of an affair. Troels instead only has that 1 blue material type icon, so he won't be able to potentially win until Iridial himself. If he's able to win at our soon-to-be planet number 2 and our soon-to-be planet number 3, Planum and Iridial respectively. So, Taurus, I believe that was resource tokens that we saw generated. Planum is going to be won by Cimadon, and now we see the Honored Librarian with its Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter repositioned at planet number 1, and that is going to be a hell of a thing. The initiative token is now in Alexander's possession, and as soon as that Honored Librarian has the opportunity to attack, if it damages or kills off an enemy unit, it's going to be able to use its Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter to deal damage equal to its printed attack value of 4 to an additional unit at that planet. It's going to be able to do a split stream style attack and just absolutely obliterate a couple of, enemy units. So I suppose let's see. I can only imagine that Alexander's going to be sending, his HQ. Oh my god, we see a copy of Cato's Stronghold interplay into Cimadon's HQ, and that's going to allow his Honored Librarian the ability to ready. I do not think... I forget if the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter itself needs to exhaust in order to do its split stream dual target attack, but we'll have to see how battle ends up going on. We see a second copy of an Honored Librarian touchdown on planet number 1 by Cimadon, and we've also got a copy of the White Scars Biker played out by Troels to that planet. We've now got a copy of Honored Librarian for Troels put into play at that planet, and now we've got a Blood Angels Veterans at planet number 1, and this is going to be an enormous conflict going on. Both of our players have got still quite a few resources. They've got a hell of a lot of units on the tabletop there. That Honored Librarian with the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter could make a considerable bit of a difference in that it could attack and destroy one target, then it could turn its Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter card effect style direct source of damage, which of course is not an attack, to kill off an opposing Honored Librarian. But let's see where these units go. Both of our players have got a fair few units in their HQ. Both of them have deployed heavily to our first planet. This is going to be Cimadon's victory condition, so is he gonna go for it? Looks as though both of our players have indeed chosen planet number 1, so that's going to be the 10th Company Scout and the White Scars Biker, controlled by Cimadon, showing up to be exhausted. Both of our players are fanning out their units. And note that Cimadon's going to have the opportunity to attack first, so it looks like Cimadon's got 1, 2, 3 total command icons relative to the 4 command icons controlled by the opponents. That's going to be a card and a resource at planet number 1 for Troels. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource for Alexander. Planet number 3 is going to be a card for Alexander. Planet number 4 is going to be a card and a resource for Alexander. So, let's see what exactly is going to go on. Both of our players have a copy of Cato's Stronghold, so as soon as an enemy unit is destroyed, they're going to be able to pick and choose one of their own units to ready. Both both of those copies, the White Scars Bikers, are going to be attacking for 4. The Blood Angels Veterans, controlled by Troels, is exhausted, so it's not going to be able to prevent any damage. Both of our players have got 2 copies of the Honored Librarian. Those are going to be able to not be directly attacked until there are no other units available, and Captain Cato Sicarius, controlled by Alexander, is going to have the opportunity to do 3 attack value armor bane attacks. So it's all going to come down to how many eager recruits do we have, how many drop pod assaults, just because as units start to die, both of our players are going to be generating 1 resource token each and every time an enemy unit is destroyed. So it's going to be a very interesting choice. Are the players going to try to kill off the enemy Warlord? Are they going to try to bloody the Warlord, send it packing, just so that there aren't any additional resource tokens being generated by the enemy with which to fund things like Eager Recruit and Drop Pod Assault? Anything could happen in this conflict, so it's either going to end at this planet, or it's otherwise going to have to see a conclusion at, it looks like, I guess, planet number possibly 4. And this is a hell of a battle, so let's see how things are going to break down. Space Marines don't really have any direct damage style card effects, save for the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter that Cimadon's got, so it looks like his opening action, his opening attack, is going to be the Honored Librarian, so that's an interesting choice. That's a target that's going to be able to whittle away a considerable bit of the opposition, but you're going to want to definitely try to make sure to get rid of some of these units. I can only imagine he's maybe going to be dealing out his attack to the Tactical Squad Cardenas. Looks like it. Do we see Indomitable? What do we see? Is that attack going to be shut down or not? No, it's not. That's the Tactical Squad Cardenas is going to be destroyed, and that is going to be, I can only imagine, the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter firing and killing off an enemy copy of Honored Librarian. Let's see what the target is gonna be. The world is Cimadon's oyster. So Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter, I apologize to my viewers for not knowing in advance whether or not the bolter itself need exhaust. It's a very expensive card, but that is going to be a copy of the Honored Librarian being outright obliterated by that damage unless we see... Okay, actually, no. Looks like we do see a copy of Indomitable, so Cimadon, being a proper gentleman, allows his opponent to take back his not playing that Indomitable, so that Tactical Squad Cardenas is going to be saved from the brink of absolute destruction, and therefore the Honored Librarian doesn't yet have an opportunity to do its split-stream style attack. But Cato's Stronghold, as soon as an enemy unit does end up being destroyed, that'll be able to ready that Honored Librarian, and then it'll have another opportunity to do its split-style attack. And even though the Tactical Squad Cardenas right now is doing its area effect style attack, that's definitely not going to be able to deal out a killing blow to any of these Space Marine faction units. Like, note that the Honored Librarians are each going to take a point of damage, but they're still just as combat capable as ever. Looks like a copy of Crushing Blow prevents the Honored Librarian that's not got an attachment from being damaged. The Honored Librarian with the Stormbolter does take a point of damage. The Blood Angels Veterans negates that damage entirely. The White Scars Biker and Cato both take a point of damage, and we saw Fury of Sicarius discarded his shields to keep the 10th Company Scout alive. But now it's going to be Cimadon's opportunity to take another swing. I can only imagine that Cato's going to try to kill off that copy of the White Scars Bikers that's normally, well, it's a modified 4/3 unit, and if that's going to be gone, that's going to be a very powerful enemy combatant gone, and that's going to be +1 resource for Captain Cato Sicarius on the left side of the table. Do we see other Indomitables? What exactly have we got, if anything? And of course, as soon as that unit dies, that's going to be Cato's Stronghold being able to ready that Honored Librarian. Then it'll have an opportunity to potentially kill off any of these Space Marine faction targets on the right side of the table, and then use the Stormbolter to kill off an enemy unit. Looks like we actually see that copy of the Tactical Squad Cardenas, which was exhausted, destroyed, but there is a copy of Cato's Stronghold on the opposite end of the table, and why, test fate by allowing an area effect unit to potentially have multiple opportunities to keep delivering its slowly but surely debilitating and eventually devastating volley of damage. But that unit is going to be killed. Cato's Stronghold readies that copy of the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter laden Honored Librarian, and now it's just going to be a matter of time before we have our question answered as to whether or not the Stormbolter itself need exhaust, and that's going to be the White Scars Biker taking a swing of 4. It does manage to kill off that copy of the Blood Angels Veterans. Very interesting choice, but it looks as though we see a copy of Drop Pod Assault put into play. That's going to afford Alexander the opportunity to essentially replace whatever unit he lost. I can only imagine that he's doing this now just on the off chance that he got a copy of the Tactical Squad Cardenas, but looks as though he got a copy of his signature army unit, the Sicarius, is chosen, and there are no eligible targets with which to target with its reaction, but I can't really imagine you'd want to necessarily drag additional enemy units into this combat at this point in any case. But on the right side of the table, we see that copy of Cato's Stronghold being triggered in order to ready that copy of the Blood Angels Veterans. So the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter Librarian takes a shot at the Blood Angels Veterans, and let's see what exactly happens. That's going to be I think a shield card used. I couldn't tell what it is. I guess it was going to be a 2 shield icon cards. That's going to be 1 point of damage dealt to that Blood Angels Veterans, and I guess the Stormbolter need not exhaust. Holy hell. So that is one hell of a card if you can allow your unit to go unmolested. So the Honored Librarian, controlled by Cimadon, manages to trigger the attachment to outright remove the opposing Ultramarines trait Librarian from the face of the planet. And that's going to be the Honored Librarian, controlled by Troels, killing off the recently added to the battlefield Sicarius is chosen, so Cimadon uses his unaugmented Honored Librarian to deal out the killing blow to Troels' copy of the Blood Angels Veterans, and our players are slowly but surely starting to run out of units here, but looks as though I spoke too soon. Remember that each time an enemy unit is killed, its controller generates an additional resource, and Troels to the right managed to put into play a copy of Blood Angels Veterans through that Drop Pod Assault, and that definitely helps kind of sway the outcome of combat in his favor, but he is going to have to get rid of that Honored Librarian with the Stormbolter as soon as possible because of the attachment need not exhaust. That is just a monumental amount of damage you're going to be able to put out. So we see an enemy unit take a swing. I believe that was the copy of the White Scars Biker that Cimadon had that was killed. He puts into play an Eager Recruit, and the Eager Recruit controlled by Cimadon kills the Eager Recruit controlled by Troels. So that is one fewer unit for him. That's going to be +1 resource for Alexander. And now all of it's going to come down to just how many cards in hand both of these players have. Do they have additional Eager Recruits? Do they have additional Drop Pod Assaults? Is there going to be anything that Troels can do to try to remove that Honored Librarian with a Stormbolter from play? Because that is going to make a tremendous bit of a difference. Does Alexander have Indomitables in his hand? I have no idea. But we see Cato, it looks like, take a swing, kill off that copy of the 10th Company Scout, and Cimadon looks as though he's run out of units, but I'm not sure if I spied another Drop Pod Assault in his hand or not. The Blood Angels Veterans on the right side of the table takes a swing. It's going to be killing off that Eager Recruit, and it's starting to look a little bit grim for Alexander unless he's got more tricks in store. There are a lot of enemy units staring him down, but note the initiative does happen to be in Alexander's possession. Perhaps he's holding on to some sort of tricks for a little bit of a later date. It's going to be of paramount importance to remember that Cato, controlled by Cimadon, is going to be able to use that Armor Bane keyword to get rid of units in mass. So there's going to be that Honored Librarian taking a swing of 4 at the White Scars Biker. And what exactly are we going to see? Is it going to be damaged? Is it going to be destroyed? Do we have any existing shield cards? I see a Fury of Sicarius. I saw a Crushing Blow. Those are both 1 shield icon cards, and that is going to be insufficient. That is going to be a dead copy of the White Scars Bikers. That's going to be the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter, causing a second casualty of war. That's going to be another dead Honored Librarian, and things were looking bad for Cimadon, and now they are looking very, very grim indeed for our Space Marine faction player on the right. That's going to be Cato, dealing 2 points of damage to the opposing Captain Cato Sicarius, augmented by a Crushing Blow. Now Cato, under Cimadon's control, has 2 hit points remaining. Interestingly, however, we see the Honored Librarian, controlled by Cimadon, take a swing at the opposing Captain Cato Sicarius instead of the 2 HP Cato, controlled by Cimadon, and Wow, I guess color me very surprised indeed. I'm shocked that we didn't end up seeing a copy of Indomitable or a 2-shield icon card. Otherwise, I imagine that Cato would have been the one to swing first. But Cimadon's Cato is bloodied, and now things are looking very, very grim indeed. So Cimadon is going to take a swing at the beginning of a new combat round despite his Warlord being bloodied, despite just a mountain of resources having been accrued by Troels. What exactly the Honored Librarian is going to be taking a swing at Cato? Do we have a 2-shield icon card or an Indomitable? No, we don't. That's going to be Cato bloodied. That is going to be 4 points of damage dealt to the Blood Angels veterans. That's going to be a 1-shield icon. Fury of Sicarius discarded to try to shave some of that damage off, so the Blood Angels veterans reaction kicks in, and the Fury of Sicarius drops that 4 damage printed attack equivalent amount of damage dealt down to 2. That's going to be the Honored Librarian killed that Cimadon still had that didn't have an equipped attachment. That's going to be the beginning of a new combat round here, and holy hell, that was a very close match indeed. But that Honored Librarian with the Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter absolutely putting in work, getting all kinds of dirty deeds done. That's finally that Blood Angels veterans destroyed. It only had 1 hit point remaining, but 4 attack outgoing -1 because of its printed reaction is still 3. That's going to result in a dead copy of Blood Angels veterans. And even though both copies of Captain Cato Sicarius ended the game bloodied, Cimadon was able to very narrowly eke out a victory, so congratulations to Alexander for piloting this one home. Very well played by both of our players, but of course, I suppose the better Captain Cato Sicarius in the end won, or more realistically, it was just that Nocturne Ultima Stormbolter being absolutely ridiculous. That early game Talisarian Tempest play definitely made a tremendous difference in regard to the outcome of the early game, and that Cato's Stronghold readying that Honored Librarian with Stormbolter definitely made a considerable bit of a difference as well. So very well played by Troels. Always great to see this pair of friends play. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, I always encourage you to share this content, as the more likes, the more views, the more engagement these videos receive. All of it stands to increase my prominence in YouTube and Google search rankings. That means new players are going to be exposed to Conquest. They may give the game a try, they may enjoy what they experience, they may join our community, and of course, all together we send a greater message to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to support this fantastic product. If at any point you'd like to get in touch with me, I would encourage you to do so through Facebook or on Twitter, and if at any point you'd be interested in recording games of your own, be they live-action tabletop footage just like the game you watched moments ago, or if it's you recording your desktop and sending in Octagon games, I would be absolutely honored to receive your footage, give it a watch, commentate it, and publish it to my channel. And of course, I'm always happy to give plugs, to advertise local gaming groups and stores. If you ever feel so inclined to help support the Hive Tyrant, I would be just as honored were you to make a contribution to my Patreon page. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.